That moment when you realize that Ousen is very comparable to those players in strategy games that quit out 1 minute in just because they had a bad base start. Okay, jokes aside, still, Ousen has disappeared, and I'm very curious of exactly what is he doing. Why is he gone? Obviously, it has something to do with whatever Riboku's plan is, and whatever's really going on with the town, but overall, though, Ousen has vanished. I don't think the man is just straight up abandoned ship and said, fuck all of you guys, I'll let you all die. I don't think he's doing that. So there's definitely something else going on. If I had to assume anything, I'm assuming he's investigating tunnels and stuff, because remember what I talked about in my last chapter review of Kingdom? I said most likely one of the big things about the city is probably tunnels, because there's probably going to be tunnels all throughout the city to where armies can come inside the city and just take over headquarters like it's nothing, because there's easy access inside of the actual entirety of this fort. So when you look at it like that, I'm assuming Ousen went off to investigate tunnels, and that's kind of why nobody knows where he's at. Or he got into a fight or something, which I don't think so. I feel like he's just investigating stuff, he's doing his own thing, and, you know, he's doing something maybe to stir up whatever's going on with Riboku's plan. I have no idea, but whatever's going on here, obviously, Ousen is investigating and figuring out whatever it is. So, like I said, I don't think he's gone up and straight up abandoned everyone. Because remember what he did in the actual previous arcs. He actually disappeared for a while, and then he popped up and he was in a fucking fortress, and then he eventually came even further on, and this man just saved the entire war. So when you look at it like that, I just do not think the man is just going to get up and just, you know, say, fuck you guys, you know, y'all can die. There's definitely something else building up here. But besides that, though, this chapter is one of those chapters that is a chill chapter and prepping us up for the action and everything to come very soon. And that's kind of what this chapter is. It's geared towards letting you just wind down and relax before everything just hits the fucking fan. Because from this point onward, there's really not going to be any breaks, most likely, in the series. There's not going to be any breather chapters where characters are probably just sitting there talking. It's probably going to be tactics, strategy, warfare, fighting, all sorts of shit going on in the upcoming chapters, so we need to enjoy this chapter while we have it, because later on, there's not going to be any dialogue, characters, you know, just thinking about how the past was. It's going to be characters going in to fight and, you know, either die or continue to live and, you know, fight another day. So regardless of whatever happens, though, is that we need to just cherish this chapter while we have it, because we're not going to probably see something like this for a good long while. Could be months, could be a year or two. It just depends on how long this arc is going to be, because it's a very crucial arc. So, besides that, let's just talk about the characterization and just the winding down part when it comes to the characters interacting with each other. And as we've seen so far from this arc, we've gotten to kind of see how the new recruits of Shin's unit are, how they, you know, interact with each other, how they actually display their courage in the battle, or if they're cowards or whatever. We got to see kind of how they fight. And as I've already stated many times, seeing the recruits reminds us all of how this series started off. Remember, when the series first began, there was a lot of characters, our main cast of characters that are a part of Shin's army that are still alive to this day, that were in their exact same position. They were scared, they were shitting themselves, they didn't know what to do. I remember Bihei, he was so scared, he was like, what the fuck, like he was terrified in the earlier portion of Kingdom, and now look at this man later on down the road, like in this chapter. So when you look at it like that, obviously, just seeing these characters, it brings back, you know, the old times of Kingdom, nostalgia. That's exactly what this entire chapter gave me when I see these characters just talking about how their battlefield was and how they were fighting and how they took down maybe a man or two and they're excited about that or they didn't die. And then you had to where, you know, the, you know, actual veterans, they come up like, hey, you guys don't need to be worrying about that. Stop, you know, being depressed and shit. Why don't you guys sit down and drink and, you know, fight another day? And that reminded me exactly of what happened in the past a long time ago. Remember, this happened too. Remember when a bunch of commanders and stuff drunk with Shin and his friends because they were kind of scared after their first war or whatever, and they were kind of nervous, and you had it to where the big commanders popped up and drunk with them, and they were like happy and shit, partying and stuff? That's exactly what was happening here, but instead of our main characters being the one that was kind of encouraged, it was our characters doing the encouraging, and I was just so happy with that, just seeing the comparison of this chapter to previous chapters such a long time ago, and that just consistency with the characters and how they matured over the time, and also how they've learned so much, and they continue to show that at one point in time, we were like you. We weren't always this badass, besides Shin, obviously, because Shin was a badass since the start of the series, and I just really like that entire combo in this chapter, because felt very refreshing, and it felt like something that was really real. Because when you're like a veteran and you're looking at a recruit, sometimes you might forget where you came from, or sometimes you will remind the recruits that you did start off like they were, and you were scared too. And that was kind of like a bonding moment for the entirety of Shin's army. These new recruits were like, oh, you guys were like us? Like, you have your own stories to where you were shitting yourself, you didn't get to kill anyone, or, you know, you ran away or whatever. You have those own stories, and like, this man was pissing his pants and shit, and I'm like, yo, what the hell? The details on this, and he's like, I beat everybody to the near inch of their life when they were making fun of me. I'm like, damn, Sugen, just chill the fuck out right now. But, still, the main point of this was to show that even though you're recruits right now, you're scared, and you're upset with how you performed, and you were talking big, the veterans did that as well. They did the exact same thing. They were constantly worried or whatever when they first started, and they were upset with themselves because they were talking a big game, but they couldn't back it up. And I like that comparison. And so it's giving the new recruits confidence that they will eventually achieve many great things and eventually move up in the rankings and may even become like a commander or something in, you know, Shin's army. That's just some really good stuff I saw in this chapter. So, also, when I saw that brief glimpse of Shin, you know, how his first war when he charged in and he fought and all that, and we got like a little flashback on that, that brought back so many memories when I was binge reading, you know, Kingdom. I'm like, damn, like, when you see Shin just charging into the army, and he's fucking it up and shit, and they're just talking about how Shin was a monster since the very beginning, and I'm like, yo, like, the feels, and just me remembering how that was, like, that was just a freaking badass arc. A lot of arcs in Kingdom are fucking badass, but that arc was such a good arc just to demonstrate how war is in this manga, but also how Shin was when it came to war. Was he ready for war, or was he not ready? And I just love the way that arc was depicted, and just seeing that little glimpse of it and all that, that made me want to reread Kingdom. That made me want to reread Kingdom just for that scene alone in this chapter. So, besides that, let's talk about what was going on with the Archer Bros. So, obviously, the Archer Bros, they're still scared, they're shaken up after what they had to do, and the older brother, obviously, he killed a lot of people, and it was the first time he ever really had to take a life, the first time he was ever in a war as well, and it was very scarring for him, which it's obvious you would be, because if you had to take a life and all that, that would definitely be something that would just, you know, eat at you. And because of this led to some interesting, you know, character development for the character, but also we get to see an insight of the Archer Bros, and also how they do fit in with Shin's army, because there was a really good comparison in this chapter when Ten was talking to the Archer Bros, like, okay, look, if you were to kill someone and you were just smiling and happy and shit while you have blood covered all over you, and this is the first time you're in a war and you're killing people, that wouldn't be good. Like, you should join Conky's army. Like, you should join him instead of being with us. Because we don't want people that are just straight up ruthless and savage. We want people that actually have a heart. Yes, you need to kill when you need to kill, but we need people that have a fucking heart, and they are not just savages. And I like how Tin was letting him know that, saying, the way you are right now, it's natural, it's normal, do not worry. You're very strong, and exactly how you are right now is what we need in this army. That was a really beautiful scene, and I love how Tin gave this man confidence, and how he was going to go give confidence to his brother. He's like, let me go cheer him up. I was a little bit hard on him. And as I've already said, one of the Archer Bros are gonna die. It's very obvious. Like, the older brother most likely is going to die. Like, it's really fucking obvious because of this chapter, page 16. It's extremely obvious that one of them are gonna die, most likely the older brother. But if both of them live, that's a good thing. But I could see one of them dying to give character development for the other, to initiate, you know, the, you know, integration of these characters, or, you know, one of the archers to be a better character and just become stronger-willed and be a better badass in the future. We'll see where it goes, but I'm assuming that's going to happen. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.